All right, Shalom family. How's everybody doing? Thank you for being on. Uh, Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Uh, Mi nombre es Kofi. Uh, Bonjour. Je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Uh, Ni hao, namaste. Kamsa, kamsamida. Osayo, Ohio. I see you. Um, Jambo, mimi ni Kofi. Nina furaha kukutana na wewe. Akwaba, etesen. Bakwartav. Um, Shalom. Yasrel, Kwam Yasrel, Tada, Atnai Kofi, Mashalam Khe. I am Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And we're grateful to be in front of you one more again. As always, we give all honor and praise to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we thank you for those who would support her business, which is the business of making sure that the diaspora is or the health of the diaspora is her business. And so she has many different tinctures. If you'd like to get the tincture of the month, tinctures, by the way, just concentrated natural medicines that she comes out to places like this and forages to be able to get for you all. If you're interested in getting something like that for yourself, please let us know. You can actually text her at 410 469 1553. Again, that's 410 469 1553. Again, I say 410 469 1553. Last time, that is 410 469 1553. So we thank you. Before we get started as well, let's give a reminder that we are doing our family fast today. Starting today, we're doing Monday through Friday intermittent fasting. If you're able to medically, right, that just basically means when the sun comes up, we stop eating. When the sun goes down, you can start again. Usually a great barometer, especially in this time of year, that is about 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we're doing that up until Friday. And on Friday, we're asking that you hold your fast up until the evening, where we'll be just on TikTok only in the evening. And we'll make sure that we come together to basically just give out prayer and make our request known. Aman, which we'll talk some about prayer this evening. And this evening, since it's Monday and we got classes going, on Monday, our first class starts at 8:30. So since that's the case, we will do our best. Please, ma'am, please, sir, if you can, at about 8:30. Let's go ahead and get, I'm sorry, rather at about 7:45, we'll start the live this evening, and we'll do that for the next, 7 weeks or so. Alrighty, but thank you all for being on. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and say hello to everybody once again. Bakwat Tav, shalom to you. Don't forget it if you're following our calendar, right? The Avda calendar, the Israelite calendar. Our calendar actually starts. The new moon is basically going to be tomorrow, right? So as we basically transition at about 6, we're actually going to be starting again. So it'll be the new month. So our Shabbat will actually, our Gregorian calendar Shabbat will still be Saturday, but our actual Shabbat will be Sunday now for the next 4 Sundays in a row. So thank you guys for being part of that and just making you aware of that. But hello, how's everybody doing? How are you doing? Hello, Shalom, Sister Denise. No, we don't necessarily have everybody eat rabbit on the first day. How you doing, Anthony? Keith? I'm sorry, Shazboa. Aloha. Yep. Aloha. I don't know if you're from over there or if you're living over there right now. I used to be stationed over in Pearl Harbor for a little bit, so I lived over there for a little bit and went to a few of the islands while I was over there. How you doing, Mo Desire? It's me, Tyler, at Grand Rising to you. Thanks for being on from Canada. How you doing? Sister Monica, Sister Judith, Mrs. Reed, Steppers Only, Shalom, how you doing? Ms. Pierce, Yasav or Yosef Lamar, Brother Alton, Sister Elion. Let's see, Ice Cap Nation adults. Okay, how you doing? Thanks for being part of the community. How you doing, Ladybug? All things me. Yeah, it is a great view. It is a great view. One of the reasons I came out here this rising. All right. Oh, and by the way, as a reminder, this Saturday, we're gonna have our Shabbat Shalom service at 10 a.m. Eastern, right after the live at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time. At about 11 a.m. Eastern New York time, we're going to have to move it. We're going to have our Florida meeting at about 11 a.m. At 12 p.m. we're gonna have all of we're gonna do our Georgia meetup up north at about 5 p.m. We'll do our Georgia meetup out down south. Okay, just to make that known, and we put the information out. We'll try and give you guys the information. If you're in Georgia, we asked everybody to be on the meeting. Not too many showed up, so hopefully everybody's able to make it out. How you doing, User Davis? Thanks for being part of the community. How you doing? Sorry. It skipped up on me. How you doing, Nate? Jay Upstate, A Kelsey, Sister Kimberly. Praying for you. I didn't have a chance to check in with you yet. But praying for you. Hope all is well, or at least we have some better news. How you doing, Brother Jermaine? I did make sure that we sent it out to Minister and I, so we were praying for you last night. How you doing, Toria? Is it Toria? Toria? Probably Toria. Toria Slyn, or is it Tori Ashland? I can't remember. I apologize if I butchered that too much. I don't even know. Beachland. I am on another level. Okay, Grand Rising. How you doing? Welcome. Sister Beverly, how you doing? Mama Tay. Sister Helen. The chef physician. Alrighty. Her 3802. Everybody who's on. Miss Pierce. If I miss your name, please charge it to my head and not to my heart. We appreciate everybody for being on. How you doing, Minister Shantae? Excellent word again. That she got us ready for the rising. Excellent word again. And we thank you so much for being on. We thank you, Minister Shantae, for being on and giving us a word for our early rising Bible study session. Those who were in attendance, you were blessed with a mighty word. Looking at Yanach or Jonah in a manner in which we probably never looked at him before. And I love the fact that she made it relevant to her personal walk, because it was easy to make it to our personal walk. How you doing? I should know. It's not Gloria. What is it? Not Gia. G Livers or G Livers. I don't even know how to pronounce the last thing. Is it Gail? Gail, I think. Sister Gail, how you doing? Acoustic, how you doing? Minister Tamara, how you doing? Freddie, Grand Rising, everybody. User 8712, thanks for being on, being part of the community. Sister Shima, everybody. And Bakwa Top to everybody once again. Alrighty. So thank you guys for hanging in there, all that information. Remember, once again, we're fasting, intermittent fasting, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fasting all the way up to the evening live session. Alrighty, today, I want to talk to you all about a change of mind. Somebody asked a question at the end of the live yesterday. I wasn't 100% sure where I was going today. I was thinking I was going in a certain direction, and they asked a question that kind of just was in my heart. That was in my heart for a little bit. And, we were talking about mindset and different things like that in our Q&A session on, not really Q&A, but at the end of yesterday, when we talked about, new ownerment for new management. And they were asking questions about, well, how do I change the mindset? And so I was going to put in there, when I thought I knew what this was going to be, when I was pinning it out, so to speak. How you doing, Sister Nadine? I was thinking it was going to be, I changed my mind. But then the Holy Spirit, she started talking to me, and she helped me to realize real quick that the mindset changes according to the environment, right? Like I could do this, in the room or in a room or in a hotel room. I could do this live session in the city, right? But wherever I am, the environment is going to actually cause the mindset, right? So a lot of times I like to get to places to where it's in nature, whether it's on my own personal land. How you doing, Brother Kova? How you doing, Ak? Or, but I like to go to places where I can have a clear mind. How you doing, Brother Eugene from the D? There's nothing like a great environment for a great mindset. That whole thing of putting new wine into old wineskins. An old environment can't handle new wine. It can for the moment, but the second it starts to mature, it's over. So your environment has to fit your mindset. If your wine is going to mature, ferment, and even grow and have more pressure, right? If it's going to move, then the wineskin has to be made for both to go together, right? And yeah, you hear me, Blockbender, yeah, right. So what happens is a lot of times people are trying to change their mind, but how do you change your mind without being introduced to another mind? Right? How do you change your mind without a new mindset? How do you change your wine, right, and get developed for better wine, more mature wine, more expensive wine, wine that brings back capital and gets results if you're still dealing with the same wineskin? And how you doing, Jay Rowland? Thanks for being part of the community. How you doing, Sister Snap? So we have a problem with a lot of things where people are trying to change their minds, but the problem is you cannot change your mind, right? My cousin, who's also a pastor, he has a line in the song. He's more of an old school musician, right? The old school organist, and he's taught me a few things here or there, whatever, when I was learning how to play, right? And there's a song, old song. I gotta clean up what I messed up, right? Starting my life over again. If you heard that song, right? And in the song, he said it irritates him. And I was like, irritates you? Why does this song irritate you so much? He said, because the song says, I got to clean up what I messed up. But he said, but if I'm using the same hands or the same material, right? If I have the same mindset to try and clean up what I messed up, right? And I got it. And even in the song, I'm very big on lyrics and etymology and things like that and everything, paying attention to every nook and cranny of a song, right? So I'm the same way. But I get it but even in the song, he talks about, not this time, I'm gonna make sure I give it to Yahweh and I listen and blah, blah. But I got what he was saying overall. If you have if you are not clean in mind, then how do you clean up what's dirty by your own dirty mind or by your own dirty standards? If you're not introduced to something. And so, like I said, I was going to call this initially, I changed my mind, but the Holy Spirit, she got a hold of it. She said, no, you can't change your mind. You've got to have somebody else to help you, to introduce you to something. Now, you are responsible for making the steps. Somebody can't walk the walk for you, right? However, you're not going to be the one to clean up what you messed up. And how you doing, babe? My wife is on. Once again, please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. But yeah, a lot of us, we have this mindset that we're going to clean up what we messed up. Yeah, how can dirt clean dirt? How can the unlawful clean the unlawful? Right? Because the word dirty and clean, even in the Greek, before somebody goes there, that clean means lawful or legal. Like clean in the Greek is even hygienos or hygienic. So if it's not hygienic, it can't be legal. When it says sound doctrine, sound, you think sound like pronounced. It makes a sound booming. It is what it is. But sound means clean. You said that's totally you. How you doing? That needs to be said. Thanks for being on. Right. So we got a lot of stuff that we don't recognize. How are you going to clean up what you messed up, but your messed up mind got you to a place to where you're unclean? What is the culture that's going to cause you to come out of an unclean mind? What is the environment that's going to cause you to think that something is different? One of the reasons I like to come down to stuff like that, especially when we have babies and stuff with us, I like to come to things like this as well, and bring young children, because a lot of our children don't even grow up where they have grass on a regular basis. Like if you grow up in New York City, a lot of people over there, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people over there aren't looking at grass and going to places like this. And, I was just talking to somebody when we were calling people from different areas, and I was talking to them about how I'm glad that when I was younger, it was a field trip that forced me to be able to go to the Statue of Liberty, because a lot of people in New York never been. And then when they closed it down, everything, people were like, oh man, I probably should have went. you know, you know. And so when I later learned things, see, I can hear things that other people can't hear. When I later learned that the Statue of Liberty, was a former slave woman, it made sense from some of the things I saw. When I heard it was made out of copper, I knew it was green, but I also remembered them telling us, well, copper, even from when I was young, it actually was copper. And what is the modern definition of I'm sorry, the original definition of an American? It is a copper colored person indigenous to the Americas. Okay, Sister Cynthia, how you doing? Right? You said, how come I say she for the Holy Spirit? I've said it twice. You thought it was an error? No, I say she. I said it she, and you've been with us for a while, so I probably never said he. But the Holy Spirit in Hebrew is always referred to as a she. It's not just feminine, even though feminine means that it's feminine, but it's not just a feminine word. It actually refers to It's always she in Hebrew. She is always Holy Spirit, Che, Ravak, Hakwadash, etc. Ravak, Ruach is always feminine. Is always a she. So that's why I always say she. It wasn't until other people got a hold of our culture and they said the Holy Spirit has to match what we say it is, and so you can't have a God or a deus or a deity or whatever. You can't have them being anything outside of a he. So the ones in charge, they always have to be he. So they changed it. Yeah, so we have to renew our mind to have a new mindset, right? Even wisdom in the Bible referred to as a she. Amen. Right? Thank you, Minister Sam. So even wisdom referred to as a she. You know, put her around your neck, right? Wisdom, a she. So, so just but once again, male and female doesn't equate to what it does here. See, in heaven, there's no marriage, no being given away in marriage. Why? Because there's no male nor female in heaven. Right? That's the culture. So when you recognize there's no male or female in heaven, because and therefore there's no marriage in heaven. Marriage is us learning how to become one here on a smaller level so that we can learn how to become one with him on a greater level. And really we should learn how to become one with him on a greater level before we even think we're qualified for marriage. Right? But that once again, right, that's part of the mindset change. If we come from other cultures that are teaching us these things, then we have to recognize that we're going to go with what the other cultures teach us, you know. So we think of that, and we'll even argue. A lot of our arguments come from somebody else's perspective. A lot of our ways to change ourselves. But once again, how do you change? How do you come out of your wicked ways? How do you come out of her, Yashda? But she's going to be the one you're coming out of. How do you come out of her? Come out of the world. Come out of the world. But you try to learn through the world how to come out. You see, that's the catch-22. That's the cognitive dissonance that's there. That's the thing that's making it very difficult for us as a people and as a community. Yeah, very beautiful, very serene. And thank you for the love. So one of the things that we're dealing with, or what the biggest thing we're dealing with is how do you change your mind? If you change your mind, you change your mind to what? And I know the saying, I get the saying, I changed my mind. I was going to do this, but I decided to do that. Okay, I decided based upon what? Right? You have decided to follow Yashua. Okay, you have decided to be a follower of the way based upon what? How you doing, 8383? And thanks for the love again. How you doing, Desmond? Desmond, sorry. Hello, my prophetic seer sage. Right? You change with the word of Elohim, right? So the word of Elohim comes with a culture. It comes with a dynamic, right? And that's the props part that's missing. Salah. See, we just go, I've been changed. Yeah. We just go, I've been changed. That's all we say. I've been changed. But changed and now what? Like watch. So, it for example, brother I was talking with, a couple brothers I was talking with this week, in one of our regions, and they were talking about the environment that they're in every day. So they said they can't wait for us to start coming together, and people in their community, the region they're in, that are going to start having these meetups, because they said that they're trying their best to love on people and to do things and to show people an example. One of them is young and yet has to be the leader for his whole family at a very, very young age because everybody else is gone. And he's trying to do it, but everybody around him doesn't do what he does. Everybody around him does not carry the same mindset. How you doing, Brother Taryn? Right? So if everybody around him is not doing the same thing, you could even have a new mindset, but once again, the environment is lost. Right? So that's why I said, like, instead of saying I changed my mind, I'm talking about a change of mind. See, if you change your mind, especially if your environment, like if you want to talk about this, if you've never seen this before, even if you've studied this, even if you've researched it, right? At some point, if you're going to be a botanist, you probably should be around some botany. you know, if you're going to be a herbalist, at some point you should probably be around some herbs, right? If you're going to be a some if you're going to be a historian, at some point it might behoove you to do some kind of excavation. right? If you're going to be somebody who's a follower of the way, at some point you've got to have culture around you, right? At some point, it just like, there should be certain things, certain terminology, certain breakdown, certain mindsets with everything that we do, and we're missing that. We're missing the environment, right? There's nothing like taking your child for the first time to go fishing and seeing that spark and them realizing that's there, and then cooking the fish, right? Cooking what they have and putting it down in front of everybody, and them being sitting there proud, and us saying, we're eating the fish that you caught tonight. There's nothing like that. You know why? Because he now can see how the environment feeds his family. And he sees that, hey, if see, before it was the store. I go to the store for fish. I go to the restaurant for fish. I didn't even know about gutting fish and making sure there was no head and there are bones that come in it and all this stuff, whatever I got to eat around the boat. That wasn't even a mindset, right? But then you take them out here and they see that it was alive. And what we do, how you doing, Sister Mary? And what we do in our culture, especially on the native side of who I am, the indigenous side to the Americas, the Cherokee, the Taino, the Tisalagi side, and even with him, with the Seminole side and Blackfoot and Creek as well, he's mixed with as well with his mom. Um, we will actually thank the fish for it giving its life. Will actually say, thank you. I appreciate the fact you're going to be the reason my family eats. He sees that process and everything. He sees that there's blood that comes. He sees sometimes the hook doesn't come out so easy. He sees that there was a struggle. He sees that in order for him to eat, something had to be sacrificed. How you doing, Divine Alchemy? Right? Thanks for being part of the community. And so because he sees it in the environment and he saw how it took place and he's seen how it now can take care of his family, fishing has a different connotation to him. Why? Because he has a new environment he's been in that now tells him that, hey, matter of fact, when we talk about eating, sometimes he might say, hey, Dad, can we just go and get some fish? Can we take the net? Can we get a fish hook? Can we just go and get some fish? Right? Can we just go out and get some fish? Right? Why go to the store? Why spend money? Why not save what we could keep for ourselves or invest it in something else when we could easily just invest another resource? You see that? Like, so now he comprehends that his time is resource, his effort is resource, his energy is resource, his intelligence. Now he has more intelligence concerning this environment. So now he has resources. But watch this, it's cool because now he has resources that are only great in a certain environment. You can't go fishing everywhere, right? You got to have a certain environment. So now, in order to be a fisherman, right? In order to see it, the environment changes mind. He didn't change his mind, but the introduction to the environment changed his mind. So now, in order for him to fish, he has to come to the environment where fishing is possible. In order for you to be a fisherman of men, you have to change your environment. You can use the same principles, but you have to have a different environment. How you doing, Aphrodisiac? Right? This is why it's important what we're talking about, what we're doing, having a change of mind. But see, don't try to change your own mind. You got to go to another environment. You got to go to the library to learn some things. There's some things that you're not going to learn outside of class. There's some things you're not going to learn outside of circumstances. There's some things they're not going to learn outside of your pain. I'm sorry, is that another? I don't know if we got two Terrans on or two Terrans on. I don't know how you pronounce your name, but they would be a part of the community, right? We got another one. We got two of y'all. So thank you for being on. Appreciate you. Right. So we got two. I'm sorry, we got two. But we had this we had this thing of environment, right? There are certain things you will not learn outside of environment. If you want to have a mindset change, you got to go to the environment. So if somebody's going through depression, guess what you got to go to? You got to go to an environment that is created for you to deal in the depression, but ultimately come out. Right? How you doing, Najee or G? How you doing? Right? If you want to go to it's cool. Go to the environment, but if you're gonna go into the environment, And by the way, G, I actually tried to reach out to you. It won't let me reach out to you because of your name. Every time I type your name in, it tells me that that I should be better in my life decisions. Like literally comes up with a message talking about that. But I did try to reach out to you. Right. So if you want to come to a environment, if you want to come to an environment, if you're going to learn different, you got to come to the environment. All right. If you want to be different, you got to have a different environment. And that's the problem that we're having, is that we're talking about life changes without talking about environment changes. Right? I have a hound. If I were to bring her here, she would act different here because she's built for stuff like this. And she would look at it different. And because of how she's created, she would do things differently than what I would. Right? She would try her best to make me go in a certain direction. She would try her best to chase every squirrel. She would dig into certain things with her nose. She doesn't mind certain things getting dirty or whatever, right? But if I take her to another environment, right, she acts different. Thank you for the love, appreciate it. You said I was talking to you? No, I was talking to Najee. His name on here is Pothead, LS, Pothead 101 LS, I think. Yeah, people want to change and hold on to the environment. Yeah, and it's impossible. Like you look, if everybody around you, do you know why most people become gangsters, G's on the street, whatever? I don't care. I was watching stuff last night, whether they come from Russia, whether they're in England, whether they're in America, wherever they might be, whether they're in Jamaica. You know why somebody gets on the street? They get on the street because they would like to be better. They're willing to become worse in order to make their lives better. That's the thought process. You know, every drug dealer, that's the thought process. It's not a righteous thought process, but that's the thought process. How you doing, Shiso Israel? The thought process is, if I can make more money, then my family would be better. And then some of them just can't leave, but all of them really at the end want to leave. All of them really are doing their best. And sorry about the noise. I thought they had finished whatever they were doing, so hopefully it won't be too much noise. But the thought process ultimately for every single person out here is, or every single person that gets into, the streets, is trying to get out. They got in it to try and get their family out, right? That's all that they're trying to do. They're literally trying to get themselves out of a situation. Problem is they're going to basically change. They're going to stay in the same environment they're trying to get out of. So some people, sure, some drug dealers, they're able to stay in it long enough, sell enough, money launder, do a lot of different things like that, and eventually get to where they can supposedly get out, and you never knew. Like there's a lot, the best drug dealers, we talk about all these other people and all these famous drug dealers and stuff, and some of the rappers who are your favorite that dealt drugs, this, that, and the third. The best drug dealers are the ones that you've never heard of. They were able to get legit business, right? Or the ones that you've heard of, but they're so into the government now that you can't do anything about it. Hence the Kennedys and people like that, right? The Trump family, all these people, like Trump's grandfather, for example, Donald Trump's grandfather was in fact was I mean, guess basically was a pimp, right? That's how he made his money. He left Germany, was pimping. They didn't like him when he tried to come back. He actually tried to come back. He left because he didn't want to serve in his country. You have to serve at a certain age. He got out of there so he wouldn't have to serve. He tried to come back. They didn't like him, sent him back out. And that's where Trump's money comes from. Now, you know, that's so the best drug dealers are the ones, or the best pimps, or the best criminals, whatever you want to say, right? Or the JFK, the Kennedy family. Don't forget JFK, John Kennedy, and RFK, Robert Kennedy. They both had a father who was in the Senate, right, or in Congress. Jack Kennedy came from a family that used to be bootleggers. They made bootlegging money, and now they became a family where you think of Kennedys only as people who are in government, but don't realize that that's how they got there, right? So, but the problem is that now what happens when you let the criminal in? What does the government become? The government becomes the criminals. You see that? So they thought that they would change their mind or change how everybody looks at them, but all you did was take a criminal behavior from one place and bring it into the next, right? That's why when it comes to hip hop is what? A lot of speech now about criminal behavior. Why? Why? Because they look at Because when criminal behavior, they look at what? They look at or where they came from, their environment. They said, we just rapping about where we come from. True. But then after that, that's all you got. And even when you get more money, even when you get more land, you still keep thinking what? Criminal behavior. So they still talk the same way. They still speak the same way. They still hold the same light. And so a lot of people look up to them now, thinking that because they got money, they're out of the environment. But the environment never changed, right? The environment they're in never changed. Yeah, they glorify what they know. Their environment is still the same. They never left the street, so to speak. So there's going to be stuff that, Baby does down in New Orleans, right? Or from New Orleans, right? There's a certain way he's always going to be because he decided he'll never leave the street, right? There's people out there, if you're looking at Suge Knight, Suge Knight basically dies the way that basically everybody else does that gets in that game. He never left the mindset. Still wearing red all the time. Never gonna wear blue. Tiny, the guy that you guys know, and started doing some other different types of movies and stuff, but the guy you guys know mostly from Friday, right? Debo, that character, his actual real name was Tiny, or at least his nickname was, I don't know if that was his real name, but I think it's Tiny Lister, something like that, Tiny Lister Jr. or something. He passed away a little while ago. But you never would catch him wearing red. I ain't gonna wear no firehouse. I ain't gonna ride in no firehouse, right? It's because he had a mindset. And so even though he had left, so to speak, he still was there. It was still in his mind. Yeah, and a lot of area going to jail make you a man. Yeah. A lot of people, that's what's gonna make you man up. Can you make it through 5-year bid, 2-year bid, even if it's a few months, right? Don't snitch. You didn't even shoot anybody, but you happen to be there, but they think that you did it. Don't tell anybody anything. Let them punish you. Stay there 15, 20 years when you could just basically get out on probation. But do 15, 20-year bid for it. And when you get out, we got you. And then when they get out, those people are either dead or they ain't faithful to what they said. And so don't nobody got you. You said, so how does one renew their mind? Once again, that's what we're talking about today is the environment, right? Is that environment. See, somebody says, I changed my mind, but you can't change what's still in the same wineskin. I can't introduce new wineskin to old wineskin, right? Here you are talking about either I still got the old wineskin, the old mentality, and I'm trying to put it in a new environment. That's going to be dangerous. Or I'm trying to take new wineskin and put it in an old wineskin, or new wine and put it in an old wineskin, a new mindset and put it in an old environment. That's detrimental, right? It doesn't work. If I put old wine in old wineskin, it's not even going to work from the jump, right? It's already doomed to stay where it is. If I'm going to take old wine old wine and put it in a new wineskin, right? If I take old wine, put in a new wineskin, it'll last for a little bit. If I take an old mentality, put in a new wineskin, the wineskin will hold together for a little bit, but it's going to bust eventually, right? If I take new wine though and I put it in a new wineskin, it means that they both grow together. Is your environment designed for you to both grow together? See, one of the things, that's why community is crucial, and that's why the growth of our community is crucial. Are we putting this together with the mindset that we must grow? Some people just like, I came into this, I showed up for this, I just want only a little bit of this, and then that's it. I showed up. I'm just looking for this one thing, right? Not confidant behavior, but constituency. I came. I'm for what you're for until it's something different. We're not all on the same page, right? Families get together, and we're for each other until it's not what is beneficial to me, and now I'm ready to roll out, right? But are you ready to grow? And growth comes with movement. Growth comes with arguing. Growth comes with fighting. Growth comes with law. Growth comes with love. Growth comes with shedding tears. Growth comes with growing muscles, comes with pain. If you're going to stretch, if you're going to be able to grow your dexterity in certain motions and stuff like that, when you stretch out and stuff like that, that comes with pain. You're literally ripping muscle fibers up. Hopefully you don't rip them up too much because that damages you, but the goal is to still rip them enough to where when they come back together a little looser, but still strong and still intact. And a lot of us aren't thinking about those things when we make decisions or when we try to change a mindset. So to renew, first of all, means that we have to have something that's new. because it can't even be renewed until it's new. It's like receive. Everybody says, I receive it. How you doing, Eddyville? Thanks for being on. And how you doing, Cream_81? How you doing, Romac? Everybody say, I receive it. I receive it. Well, before you can something, you got to first get it. And so how can you receive what you haven't received? Right? How can you conceive what you haven't received? Right? How can you see something without even knowing what has been perceived? How can you have an idea without a precepted environment? Once again, precept, we talked about this before in the live sessions. You have precept, you have sept, and you have concept. We know the word concept and precept somewhat. We use concept more than precept nowadays. CEPT is the original word. CEPT, sept, is basically just saying you have an idea. So if an idea is always going to come out of a precept, a sept always comes out of a precept. A sept, an idea, always comes out of an environment. And a concept is being one with the environment, or I'm sorry, being one with the idea that came out of the environment. So your concepts are always one with your ideas. Your sept, ideas, sept is always coming out of an environment, a precept. That's why you keep hearing about precepts over and over again, especially in stuff like Psalm 119, precept, law, words, ways, truth, righteousness, standards, etc. Testimony, right? You know, a testimony is a precept, an environment that says if the law worked here for me, then it'll work again. And I carry that same sept out of the precept. Now it's not precept. Now I'm actually in it. So it's a sept. And I'm going to become one with it from now on because of the environment I came out of. It's a concept. Yeah, and it's important that it changes the narrative. And once again, even look at this when we talk about a narrative or an ideal. Now, notice I used the word with sept. I didn't say ideal, IDEAL. I said idea, IDEA. Why? Because an ideal, IDEAL, is something that you build to support your own narrative. So if somebody is idealistic, or they're into idealism, a system of ideals, they're into a system that they built themselves to be able to support their own narrative, right? They built it to support their own narrative. And a lot of us have ideals, IDEAL. We have things that we have built to support our own narrative. So for a lot of people, hey, you know what? I'm just, you know, I just have diabetes. It runs in my family. That's an ideal to support your own narrative. How about this? What does your family eat? Or Christianity, Christianos, we could say, right? I see you, right? Question for you. What does your family eat? How you doing, Dwayne? Thanks for being on. If your family eats certain things, then more than likely you will have diabetes. So it is not the diabetes that runs in your family. It is the environment that runs your family. Did somebody catch that? That's a word that's going to bless somebody, right? It is not the diabetes that runs in your family. It is the what? It is the environment that runs your family. If you've been eating, uh, you know, eggs with a bunch of, or eggs, grits with a bunch of butter and salt and all that every day with a whole bunch of bread and this and that or whatever, well, the bread is going to turn into sugar. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, the bread going to turn to sugar. Like, so you eating bread every day, right? The eggs will be all right. That's the only thing that actually comes with the chicken eggs are usually going to be the only thing that come with all the amino acids that you need. Cool. But then you making sure that you dress it up. Some of y'all putting ketchup and stuff all over it, and then you got your grits or your oatmeal or whatever. But most people eating the grits, and that would be fine too, except your grits have to have a whole bunch of salt or a whole bunch of butter or a whole bunch of sugar. I'm not gonna argue over which one because I'm not even the grits eater like that. If I eat grits, I normally just eat grits straight up, because I just want to get the nutrients only. I'm not even big grits. I don't even really like the the consistency of the grits. But if they're made, I'm gonna eat them because they're healthy. They're really great for melanin. They build up a melanin. building up a melanin, right? But but yeah, we're eating all this stuff with sugar, this, and then that's just breakfast. Then you go to lunch, you got get a quick lunch because you're on your job, so you get something. You go to I don't care where you go, Chick-fil-A, or even if you're going to Chipotle. Chipotle is better, but it's still gonna have a lot of stuff that's owned by McDonald's, so they're putting some of the same stuff that they put at McDonald's and Chipotle. Or you get wherever you going, you get something real quick, and then you come back home. Maybe you make something at home, but you probably got something that might be microwavable because you're tired, this and that. You do that over and over and over and over and over and over again, and eventually, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get some diabetic symptoms. We're gonna have to deal with some hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia, right? We're gonna have to deal with some blood issues, and then you go and you get medicine, right? Rather than eating food that's just real food, you go and you get medicine that's fake food as well. That's all this medicine is, what they call medicine, right? You're going and getting fake food on top of that to fix what happened with the fake food, which, if anything, will mask certain things until it gives side effects, which now you got to take a medicine for the side effect with the medicine for the side effect. So now, besides all the fake food you're eating fake cocktails of medicine to be able to make sure that you can have fake meals 5, 6, 7 times a day. That's one of the reasons why we're doing some fasting this week, because we have to have an opportunity for our bodies to relax. Amen, Sister Latoya. That's a great prayer. That should be all our prayer, to renew our mind, right? Yeah, almost everything has sugars in it, of course. And so we got to ask ourselves once again, what is the environment? It is not like I want you to stop saying what they want you to say. I know they want you to say this, but guess what? They are not correct, right? Diabetes is not running your family. They're not correct. Heart disease is not running your family. They are not correct. Alzheimer's does not run in your family. They are not correct. Male or female pattern baldness does not run in your family, right? You have an environment that invites these things into your life. And until you are shown another environment, until you go from this port and report to another port, you're going to have the same situation. How you doing, Sister Ray? To process red is some bad juju, removing the natural fiber. Well, not only that, I mean, it's plastic in the rice and stuff now. And if you get wild rice, even, you got to be careful. A lot of people don't even know. See, once again, the environment will show. When you see grain in a natural environment, you know what you'll see? Grain comes in different colors. A lot of time, not all the time, but a lot of the time. So if you're eating grain and all the grain is one color, either they remove the nutrients, they dyed it a certain color, or they, which seems to be counterintuitive or counterproductive, but they just gotten a bunch of stuff that looks the same one by one, right? But you want grain it has a lot of colors. Matter of fact, when you eat food, you want food. See, that's the reason a lot of people who aren't even diabetic, you'll go to the doctor and you'll be like, man, I feel like I'm diabetic and I'm having this symptom. They'll say, well, you have diabetic symptoms, but you're not diabetic because you don't hit certain marks. You know why? Because you're eating stuff that is not like whole. So you're eating grain that's missing some of the other grains, right? Your vision problem, right? See, an environment changes everything. Your vision problem. I'm somebody that used to wear glasses, bifocals, all that, right? And every once in a while, my vision starts to try and go back down. Guess what I do? I ate a bunch of carrots. I was just eating carrot, 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 carrot. Now, there's some things that are great about this, some things that aren't so great about that, but I was focused. What I eat, it should be for my body specifically, right? So, like, I ate those because it helps with vision. You are what you eat. If you chop open a carrot and you look at it, it looks like your eye, right? But also, guess what I have to do to make sure that I don't keep losing vision or my vision gets better? Because guess what happens? If you eat sugar, it actually attacks your eye. So one of the reasons people have an issue when they get older, you just go, oh, when I get older, my eyesight leaves. Well, kind of, sort of, yes. But usually what speeds it up or gets you to a certain point where your body can't do it is because you've been eating so much sugar your whole life that at a certain age, yeah, everybody starts to have vision problems because you've been eating so much sugar your entire life that now your eyes have been affected. Sugar actually messes up your eye, you know? Well, you eat a concentrated amount and you eat it for a long time. That's another thing. See, in our environment, you're used to just eating what you feel like eating. So you're like, oh, okay, I feel like having McDonald's today. You go to McDonald's. I feel like having Chick-fil-A today. You go to Chick-fil-A. I feel like having Burger King. You go to Burger King. I feel like having whatever, a Whataburger. You go to that. I feel like having Jack in the Box. You go to that. Whatever it is, right? I feel like having Five Guys. You go to that. And What's supposed to happen is that you're eating for medicinal reasons, whether you're trying to make sure that you are preparing yourself, right? Because you should have some things that you're eating, like preemptive. Like you have preemptive medicine, maybe you have preemptive surgery, which is a wild thing, but preemptive medicine or whatever is something that you're doing to make sure that you won't have to deal with something in the future. So we don't even think, man, you know what, in the future I'd like to have really strong joints and deal with a lot of with very little inflammation. So what do? So get some turmeric in your life. Get some cayenne pepper and maybe get some black pepper to activate the turmeric so that now when you're eating it, right, the turmeric's going to go to your joints. The cayenne pepper is going to make sure that the blood flow and everything's there and that things aren't clotting and that at the same time it'll thin the blood while making sure it doesn't stay thin. And it'll make sure that clotting, happens to where it needs to happen, but it doesn't happen to where you're having, heart attacks and stuff because of it. Then you have the black pepper to activate everything. Or you could literally, if you have pain issues, you could just take black pepper, put it on your tongue. Or what about if you have tooth pain? A little bit of black pepper, fine. But if it's extreme tooth pain, guess what you could do? You could just take some clove oil. I mean, heck, I used to smoke clove. I don't anymore, but I used to smoke clove. Everybody smoking weed, which by the way is great for pain and different things in other areas and stuff like that and anxiety. But like, what about clove? That just helps with pain right in your mouth. As a matter of fact, if you smoke it, you'll notice your lips are gonna start to go numb. So you got to be careful with how much you're having. And if it'll numb that, then of course it numbs other places. So you don't want to keep doing it, right? I mean, I don't even deal. I mean, I guess there's ratios. I don't know. I'm not even talking about formula. I used to literally just dump some of it on my tongue. Now you can't have as much cayenne pepper every day. You can't do like cayenne pepper every day. But I used to literally put cayenne pepper, and I'm talking about like seasoning. I used to just take seasoning, and put it on my tongue, cayenne pepper, because on the tongue or under the tongue especially, but on the tongue it gets right into the bloodstream, right? So I used to make sure drink some water first to be hydrated, because it's going to be a lot of dry stuff on there, right? Powder. But I put turmeric, I would put ginger, I would put cayenne pepper, I would have black pepper, and I forget what the fourth thing or the fifth thing was. I had something else I would put on there too. Um, and basically, I had that every day, right, to make sure that there was certain healing that I needed in my body, especially when I was dealing with, having to heal from um, ah, the I don't remember the name of it right now. Well, anyway, if it's necessary, it'll come back to me. But whatever it was, had something, internal injury or whatever, and was dealing with it, right? So and never had to go see a doctor, this and that, but you got to eat a lot of it. You got to eat it, and thank you, hernia. And I was dealing with that. You got to deal with it, and you keep eating until. You keep eating until, like a lot of people, I'll be like, okay, make sure that you have this in your diet. Go to the store and buy this, go do this or whatever. A lot of people, they only get it what? Because in their environment, you take it one time, or you're supposed to take a pill once a day or blah, blah. Like, yeah. And guess what? If you take that pill, they say take it until you're complete. Or if you take an biotic, they say what? Take it until it's complete. Well, I feel great. I feel better after 3 days. Take it until it's 2 weeks out. Take it until it's finished. Take it until it's complete. Right? You have to keep getting it, because just because you see a symptom go away doesn't mean that the problem's gone away. And the same thing, right? And the same thing in our environment is that's what happens. How you doing, Sister Rocky? A lot of us, a lot of us, yeah, the view is nice and peaceful. A lot of us are in positions where we don't think about that. In our mind, right? In our mind, we're just like, oh yeah, I need a overnight solution. I'm gonna change my environment for a day, but then I'm gonna go right back. Hey, I didn't do Christmas this year, right? But I'm gonna go right back to Easter. I didn't do Easter, but I'm gonna go visit people for Thanksgiving. I didn't do Thanksgiving, but I'm gonna go right. Like you have to change your environment until. And if you want a daily renewal of mind, it means that you have to daily be in another environment. Right? You have to have a daily, in order to have a daily renewal of mind, you have to have a daily renewal of environment. Right? I can't go right back to the street, right? And strap up, right? I can't go right back there, right? Talking about the Glock, this and that, or whatever. I can't go right back to the same corner with everybody else who says that that's it. When I go back home, I told y'all this before. When I go back home, certain corners, I know I will see certain people from school who have never left the corner. I might go there to say hi, but I can't stay there because if I stay there, I start to get certain things. As soon as we do, we reminisce. And guess what they want to reminisce about? They want to reminisce about stuff that we did when we were children. You ain't telling me nothing about how you take care of your children. You ain't telling me nothing about your marriage. You're not telling me anything about being better. You're not telling me anything about being healed. You're not telling me anything about becoming whole. You keep telling me about something that happened long, long time ago. Right. And while I appreciate you, I appreciate your humanity, I appreciate your walk, I appreciate your talk, I appreciate your life. At the same time, I'm trying to do something what? New. And I've already seen the new. And so guess what? I can't just do it once now. I gotta renew every day. I gotta go back there. Yeah, that's why we were saying you probably shouldn't take too many clothes or take too many of anything, right? Because you can numb yourself too much, right? Especially if you're talking about smoking it, right? I mean, eating too many clothes probably wouldn't be a problem, but we're talking about if you have pain on your teeth and stuff, right? But I'm just saying, but we don't know this stuff. So we're not thinking about this. You said it's like having an addiction and staying in counsel with the environment. Yeah, exactly. And that's what happens even when we're talking about food. That's really what we're talking about, is that you have an addiction, right, to the environment. I'm sorry, Alton, I missed whatever you pinned up. It says that you pinned something. I must have missed it. But yeah, like it's that's what the issue is in the environment is you have been released from the environment, but you keep finding ways to go back. And that's why the change is not what you think it should be. How you doing, Minister Sonia? That's why the change is not what you think it should be. Baba Kasha, it's our pleasure, right? That's why the change is not as relevant as you think it should be. It's not because you don't have a mind to change. It's not because you don't have a heart to change. It's not because you're not thinking about changing. It's because you change one day, but just because you change one day doesn't mean you're continuing to renew. This is what Pavel, or who we call Paul or Paul, right? This is why the Apostle Paul states, and he says that, hey, if you new in this, we're not going to make you a leader yet. How you doing, Action? Thanks for being part of the community, right? Or this is why it states, people do this all the time. Somebody comes in, they're new. Hey, let's make them a trustee. Why? Because you want somebody to be a trust. This person is great with money. You think that they'll be great for your environment. But just because they're great with their trust doesn't mean you should trust them with the kingdom. Oh, okay. Thank you. Right? And how you doing, Real Sean? Real Sean Myers, thanks for being part of the community. Right? A lot of people don't get it. You think that just because you got saved on a Wednesday that you should be a trustee or a deacon or a preacher on a Thursday. That's not how it works. We got to see if you constantly and consistently will renew your mind, right? Like I can't stop you from your call of even being a minister, but I can make sure there's certain things that we do as far as what? As far as ordaining, as far as us saying that we totally agree that you should be able to do whatever it is that the Holy Spirit has called you to do without even checking in at all. And everybody wants that. You'll see right away, right? I used to be that. Hey, I want to just come in and do this. And why are you telling me? And why can't I do that? Look, you'll see where people's hearts are in this. You'll see where they are because wherever you go, when I first came into the knowledge of this, you better know for sure. I was always looking for somebody to go back to that environment, renew over and over again. Hey, let me come back to you for that. Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about that? Right? Should I do this? Should I do? I'm not saying that I need to be a micromanager, right? I don't even want all that. I don't want the problems that come with that because that's problematic within itself. I'm just saying though, I came with a mindset to where like, hey, if I just got in this, then I need to make sure somebody can tell me about this environment over and over and over again. How you doing, Gregoria? All right, appreciate it. Right? I need to come into this environment over and over and over again. I need a reminder of it. Can you show me something? Can you give me the scripture to read? Can you give me that? Can you give me a word? Is there a place I can go? Right? Even if I'm annoying you, I don't care. Right? I'm a child in this. I'm a baby. Babies can be annoying sometimes. Children can be annoying sometimes. Thank you for the love. Right? And how you doing, Nika? Thanks for being on. Right? Like sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it bees like that. You supposed to be enough, but I'm supposed to what? I want to be renewed. I want to be refreshed every single day, every single moment, every single hour. Right? That's why I used to sing that song. Right? I need thee, oh, I need thee every hour. I need thee. Oh, come. Oh, sorry. Bless me now, my Savior. Right? Like they were saying, I need you every hour, right? I need you every single hour, right? Every single one. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why they were singing those hymns. That's why we shouldn't forget some of the what they say is old, old, old. You need to make sure that you stay connected to some of that. It's an environment change that we're talking about, right? Like that was an environment change that we're talking about. And we don't have the environment there. They used to speak about environment change. Now we just say, hey, you know what? And look, I don't got a problem. You guys know I play Ty Tribbett all day, every day, right? But new, everything new, everything new, right? It needs to come with a new environment. You said it's thousands of herbs, but if you don't know how to administer these herbs, you can cause more harm. Exactly. Yep. That's why we teach people how to use herbs consistently and completely, right? And by the way, I'm not somebody that's saying that I'm a doctor or any official license or whatever. I'm just telling you that these things are here. But the herbs are for the healings of the nations. Revelation chapter 22, verse 2, right? So it's important that we get these things down. It's important that we recognize what's going on. We have a lot of people who are trying to get in an environment without first being, or trying to get a change without an environment change, right? It's a difference. If you don't come out to environments like this, matter of fact, if somebody says to you before you've ever been to something like this, if somebody says, "Yo, what you doing today, bruh?" And you're like, "Man, I'm going fishing." Somebody would say, "Fishing? Fishing, man, come on, man. We going to play the game, man. We gonna go shoot some dice, man. We gonna go look and see if we can get some, get a little girl, get a little side piece, whatever. What you trying to go with it? You trying to roll? No, I'm straight. I'm going fishing, right? Two different environments. Not even saying one's better than the other. I would say that some of the things I mentioned are not that great, but I'm just saying it's a different environment. It helps you to see something, right? It helps you to see something. So you can't become you can't have a change of mind. You can't have a change of heart. You can't have a change of mentality without a change of environment. It's going to be impossible, right? You will be oblivious to things because you've never experienced them. Even like the person was talking about herbs. Very true, right? Do you know how to see the difference between an oak tree and birch, right, or maple? Do you know that birch trees can be used if you're ever in a situation, right? If you got a lighter on you, maybe you don't know how to start a fire without one, but if you got a lighter on you, do you know that, hey, a lighter can be your best friend out here? Because even when it starts to rain, you can get some birch. If you can find a birch tree, take the birch off, you can go ahead and burn that even if it's wet, even if it's been rained on, right? But you won't know it, and do you even know how to identify the difference between birch and something else? You won't know it until you've been in it. It's like with sovereignty. We tell people all the time, everybody wants to be sovereign just on paper. It's like without sovereignty, first of all, like sovereignty is not just a piece of paper, it's your life. Because even if you sign a piece of paper saying you're sovereign, right? Like what does that even mean if you don't live sovereign? It's like saying you sign a piece of paper while you're in jail saying you're free. But if you're not out of jail, you still in jail. Somebody can give you a piece of paper and say, hey, sign this, this is freedom. They technically do that. You know that, right? Like when you go to jail, they force you. When you go to prison, they force you to sign documentation, or at least you think you're forced, or you think you have to, so you do it. And then sometimes they'll beat you up until you sign it, right? But they force you to go into those things, right? So you're forced to sign this document, right? You're forced to sign this documentation, and when they force you to sign the documentation, how you doing, Tula Blossom? And thanks for being part of the community, Bart. Appreciate it. So once you sign the documentation, and we'll have information up at the end. I'm not even going to go that long today because I really couldn't. Uh, I was doing a few different things. Actually, you should probably see some videos popping up on TikTok that I was working on early this rising to be consistent with what I was saying to make sure that we have a little bit of Hebrew characters information for you guys. Even if you're not taking class, you can at least get the basics down. We would still suggest take the class at some point, because the little thing that I gave you, 60 seconds per character ain't really going to teach much. But yeah, I was losing battery because of that. We also had early rise Bible study session, I was also using the map at the same time to try and find its location. So even though I turned the phone off for a little bit once I got here, I basically started with 80%. So we're probably only gonna make it, I don't know, we might even the way it's even still going down battery wise, because it's probably still loading videos at the same time I'm on here. We'll probably only have about, maybe, I don't know, prayerfully we'll make it at least about 30 more minutes before it's time for us to get ready to take our leave, prayerfully. um Normally we can go way longer than that, so maybe that's a blessing, maybe it's not. I don't know. We'll be back on tonight early, 7:30 anyway, or 7:45 ish, since we got class at 8:30. But yeah, so we'll give you the information that'll be on here very soon. But trust and believe it'll be up very soon. If you can hold on, no more than probably about 20-25 minutes or so, we'll start putting that information up in the background as some music is playing, and then we'll let you guys, until basically I need to hurry up and get the battery charged. We'll let you guys watch some of this view without me saying anything, because this probably speaks just as much. We can see the handiwork of the Most High, and just see Him in His handiwork and listen to Him and His natural law. But yeah, we're having people that are trying to change their environment, or trying to change their heart, trying to change their mind, but you don't change the environment, right? But if you go to jail, they'll force you, right? Or you'll think you're forced, right? So they have you sign a piece of paper. When you sign the piece of paper, it basically says you're allowed to be a chattel slave. And it also says that you're allowed to have a job, because, they're going to force you to work there and make stuff for people, right? If you don't, they're allowed to throw you in the hole. It's going to say that you're allowed to talk to people as much as you can afford to, or somebody can afford to pay for you to talk to them. It's going to say that you're, allowed to be able to have a room and board, your jail cell, which you're selling. It's going to say all that. And basically, when you get out and you try to get your Social Security, they're going to say, no, you can't get Social Security. You're going to say, well, why? I even had a job in there. I mean, y'all only paid me $3 or something cent or whatever, but can I even get like a couple bucks then? Y'all only change. They ain't pay you that much. Usually they paying you what, 43 cents, 33 cents, stuff like that. An hour or whatever, maybe. You're like, well, can I at least get some pennies out here? Every month. They'd be like, no, we can't give it to you, because you know what? Your room and board, and you having a place to stay, and you being able to go in the yard, and you having access to law and stuff, even though they don't let you get access to it. But, you having access to look up law, and you having, food to eat and all that. You having a job, which you're a slave, so you were forced into it. Chattel slavery, 13th Amendment allows chattel slavery as long as you're arrested. So they'll say all that, then they'll say that was benefits and privileges. You signed that away, right? Now, so according to them, you had benefits and privileges. You were free to make decisions. But how was I free to make decisions when I was in prison? You see that? That's an environment change problem. There's a lot of people in prison that are some amazing minds, like would have you stupefied out here. Outstanding in mindset. And yet, you won't hear a poem. You won't hear a story. You won't hear a testimony. You won't hear them preach. There's some preachers in prison that would make people like me be obsolete. At least so I feel. I really wouldn't be, because all of us are called to do what we do. But you know what I'm saying? Y'all would probably hear some of them and be like, oh, I need to hear some of this word. But you never hear them. You know why? You'll never hear them because supposedly they're free, but they're locked up. How you doing, Mactronics? So how many hours should we fast a day? And for intermittent fasting, for what we're doing as the family fast, we're doing from sun up to sundown. So whatever that is, I guess you can do 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That might work for you wherever you are. I know we're in different parts of the country. Well, we've been doing 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or over here, but that works for us in this season. As we're still in the winter season, we're still not in the beginning of the year, at least our year, the real beginning of the year. But yeah, we got to realize that there's a lot of people who have signed up to be in prison. How you doing, Healing Rap Goddess? How you doing? Thanks for being on. Right? Like you said, what class would you recommend for a beginner with some knowledge of Paleo Hebrew? Well, if you're taking classes with us, we would suggest Hebrew characters. If you have, because not all Hebrew characters are presented the same, unfortunately. So I think you should know which. It depends on which I'm sorry. It depends on which dialect, So our dialect, even writing has dialect, right? Like people don't think about it, but cursive is a dialect of regular manuscript. Like that's all you're dealing with, right? And even what you call English today, it's English. It's a dialect. Like you don't speak Anglo, right? You know, I actually found out something like I didn't know this until yesterday. I think apparently Anglo Saxons rode horses but never fought on horseback. So whenever they were in a fight, they would actually always get off the horse to fight. But in my mind, I think of an Anglo Saxon always fighting on a horse. But like if like what you would see on Lord of the Rings or something. But no, they don't fight on horseback. They get off the horse to fight. That wasn't their culture, right? So it's the same thing when you're writing words. So our olive looks similar to it, some others olives, but they might do like more of an actual bull writing. We just go by the triangle and stuff, or they might do a bit where it looks almost kind of sort of like the number six, or almost like a G. In comparison to our bits, which looks like the letter B on its side. But if you're comfortable with that, I would take that, or I would even go to a point of saying like take the basic Hebrew. If you use the same ones that we use, or you find out real quick that you're able to get it. If you even know some, it'll probably be easy for you to kind of make a quick interpretation change, your translation change, and then from there, basic Hebrew would probably be the one for you to take. But you can always get in touch with us. So text us. We're gonna have the information popping up soon. Like I said, I don't have the battery charged the way I normally would, and because of using so much of it early this rise, and even when I tried to charge it, it's still not as high up as what it used to be. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I do. But once again, just text us at the number that's going to pop up. If we don't already have your information, but just text. Well, period. Just text us at the number that's going to pop up in a little bit, and we'll get that info to you. But even all that we're talking about is environment, right? Even all that we're talking about is environment. Bavakasha, it's our pleasure. So even all we're talking about is environment. You said that was kind of them leave the horses out of it. Yeah, you know. But you see, in our mind, right? Because of what our environment. So it wasn't until like yesterday I was like looking through some stuff. I was like, wait a minute. It's like they didn't fight on horseback, right? Now other cultures did, and since we are used to them taking other people's culture on, and not researching what they did, and they do that so much. They've been taught that somebody else's culture is theirs. That today you don't even think of a knight not being on horseback. It doesn't even like make sense. And I know there's different types of European tribes and knights and all that stuff. You said, can you eat before the sun comes up? Well, I would just say do it like this. The easiest way to do it, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you can do six, because everybody's in a different place. That's what I was saying. Sun comes up, sun comes down is easy way to think about it. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. easy, probably the best way to think about it. That way you're online with us doing 12 hours, half a day. If you're able to, by the way, once again, if you're on medication that requires food, we don't want you to take less medication, especially if we don't know what the results are. Because even though we would tell you to be on herbs, at the end of the day, medication is fake herbs, and there's situations that happen, and sometimes your body gets addicted, and things happen when you don't take your medication if you're not weaned off. So please, if you take medication, let us make that very clear. Once again, if you're taking it and you have to have it, take your medication. If you've been taking it for a while, if your body is used to it, please do. Or feel free to contact your physician and ask them. Okay, I don't want anybody in here feeling weak or whatever, right? But yeah, depending on where you are, I know the sun is different. So 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I mean, heck, if you got somebody who's dealing with the aurora borealis at the time you're fasting, they just got to have a time frame, you know. You said that's how they were conquered by Northern Africa warriors on horse. Mm. Is it Hunter? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Thank you for being on. Appreciate you. How you doing, Shabbos? If I didn't say so already. So yeah, so that's really what we're trying to get here is the environments, right? That's what we're trying to get with the environments. The environment. Yeah, you do that with Ramadan. Yep. We don't necessarily do that for us. 6 p.m. So in Israelite culture, 6 p.m. is the beginning of the day. Right, always was until somebody else conquered and we got scattered and we lost that part of us. But 6 p.m. is always the beginning of the day for us. The day starts in the evening. So people actually start their day entering into rest. Shabbat, Sabbath. So we literally, 6 p.m., we actually enter into rest in the beginning of the day. That's how that started. Remember the evening and the rising was a Yam Allah for the first day. It's always evening, darkness, or confusion, right? Trying to get some rest, resting in Him in the beginning so that we can get closer and closer to enlightenment. So we can get ready to start the next day, right? So that's actually how our day started. Thank you, Sister Mary. That's how our day started. That's what we did. The evening to the rising, the confusion. Let's get out of it. Let's rest. Let's enter into rest. Let's get ready. Rise up that we can get done what's necessary, so that we can get ready to enter into His rest again. Right. The same thing with the weeks. Right. This week is going to be 8 days because, we're on the 8th day technically because tomorrow is the new moon. Right. So tomorrow is going to be nice, or not Nisan, but Shavan, and we're gonna have a Raishan Shalom, the first day for us of the week, while everybody else is, gonna be three days into their week. We actually start again, right? So the newness, the fullness, a new environment. The new moon represents a new environment. Some people who worship the moon, you call them lunatics, literally lunar, and then they were called lunatics. Now you think of lunatics as being crazy because people had a bad thought that lunatics were people that were wild because, hey, why would you worship the moon and not the creator of the moon? Why would you worship Ishtar, Easter, right? And not the one who made the moon, right? But that's, once again, we don't know culture. See, so you come out of that environment, it causes you everything about this new environment, this new walk, this new touch, this new taste. Oh, taste and see that Elohim is in fact constitutional, that the Lord is good, right? Everything that you see in this environment that we're going into, thank you for being part of Community Prince. Everything that you see has to be greater. Everything that you see, if you're still in the old wineskin, the new wineskin doesn't mean a thing. And notice it didn't say, oh, digest and see, oh, eat and see, oh, cook and see. It said, oh, what? Oh, taste and see. That Elohim, that Adon, that Yahweh Elohim, He is tasty, He is righteous, He makes sense. A new environment is a taste. Hey, how you doing, honey? 1972. Thanks for being on with us. Right? A new environment is a taste. That's all it is. And thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Take a little boy who's never been off on grass like that and have him spend a day in a tent. Let him go fishing. Let him take care. Let him go running on dirt. Right? Let him see that there's something else out there. Right? Give them a taste. A lot of brothers think all there is sports or the streets. You know why? Because they've never had a taste. Even when they go to school, they're going to a school that looks like a poor environment. And if you have a child, the child has enough sense to realize that if I'm a poor child, I come from a poor environment. If I live in a poor environment, it's because I got poor parents. If I have poor parents, it means that they send me to a poor school. If they send me to a poor school, it's because they can't afford to send me somewhere else, so they have a poor job. If they have a poor job, they probably have a poor mentality. And if they have a poor mentality, and I'm gonna become like them, then I'm gonna just start the curse all over again. And so what do? They say, hey, well, maybe I need to try and get back on the street. You said what religion? Well, the word religion literally means a legion of people that repetitively do the same thing. We're not a religion per se, but if you're talking about what are you called, I guess. You could say we're Israelite. I'm literally Israelite by blood. No matter which direction you want to go, whether you're anti-Kyrie or with Kyrie stance, I'm actually have to be qualified by my tribe in Shwek tribe over in Ghana. We're actually recognized, but also as far as like what you're called, some of you, I guess they would have called us followers of the way. Yashtel, I guess you could say I'm Shwe, Taino, Anakita Ya, or Anakita Waya. The list goes on and on. Somebody who believes in the Most High, I guess, is the easiest way, right? But everybody has religion. I was talking about fishing a lot today. If you go fishing every day, that you religiously go fishing. Religion just means a bunch of people do it over and over again together as a legion. you know, but the environment choices, right? So when somebody asks, that's why I was led to this today. If somebody asks you, how do I change my mind? Don't worry about changing your mind. Change your environment. Your environment will inform your mindset. Thanks for being part of the community to hear. Appreciate it. Right? Don't worry about changing your mind. Your environment will change your mindset. There are certain things that have never been introduced. Remember, Romans chapter 10, verses 13 through 16. Anyone who calls upon the name of the Lord, they shall be saved. But how can somebody be saved if you haven't believed? And how can you believe what you haven't heard? And how can you hear what's not being preached? And how can it be preached if the preachers aren't sent by the Most High from the correct environment? For how beautiful is the way, the environment that the preachers walk in. And then it says, who shall believe our report? Once again, what is a port? I'm ported here. I'm right next to the water. I'm right on the water, right? So I'm ported right here, right? But to report means that I went all the way to the other side and I got some information that maybe you're not aware of. And I'm going to come all the way back here and I'm going to report to you what I saw on the other side, right? Now that it's been reported, who shall believe it? I'm not here to even cause, I'm not here to be mad at you. I'm not here to tell you you have to believe it. I'm not here to say if you don't believe it, you ain't as great. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm simply just telling you, look, I went over there. I pulled a Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I went over and I saw something on the other side. I seen the mountaintop and I'm just coming back reporting and saying, look, I plan on, I may not get there with you in this lifetime for whatever reason. I might not get with you on your personal journey. I might not be able to walk this thing with you every single day, but I promise you though that I've seen it. You know, that's all I'm saying. I promise you that I've seen it. That's all we're doing, right? Is reporting an environment. If you're willing to live in that which has been reported to you, I promise you that your life will never be the same again. It really gets that simple, right? It really gets that simple. I'm reporting to you that if you would simply go there, I promise you, there's a land flowing with milk and honey over there. There's a new Yerushalayim that's coming down. There's another way to live your life as a sovereign. There's a group of people who are growing every day as community, and we can't wait to get together. Matter of fact, we've been getting together for real, but now we can't wait to get together and meet you. And our children are living the way that you want your children to live too, right? Right. We want to be on one accord. We keep the holy days too, right? Starting February 23rd, we're going to remove the leaven from our home too. April 1st, we're going to select our lamb too. April 5th, we're going to have Passover too, right? April 6th to the 13th, we're going to have the Feast of Unleavened Bread too. You know what I'm saying? 50 days after Passover, I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head, forgive me, but 50 days after Passover, we're going to make sure that we it's on the website, right? And on the calendars for those who have calendars, but it's on the website calendar as well. But 50 days after Passover, we're going to make sure that we have the day of Pentecost too. October 29th September 29th through October 6th. We're going to have the Feast of Tabernacles too. There's some people out here that want to be what you want to be. We're like-minded. That's an environment that you might not be used to. You might not be used to this where you can everybody in everybody's areas. So the people in your region, I don't know if we're going to be able, because you guys got people in Cali and Northern Cali already. And you also have some people that are in Vegas. So I don't know how we might kind of combine you guys from Northern California, Vegas, and maybe Arizona, which is asking a lot. So we might not do that. We might, but people in different areas. But we'll have something in your area specifically. But yeah, what we're looking at doing is like, so whether it's San Fran, whether it's Chicago, Detroit, Canton. I mean, we got so many people now. Whether it's the Carolinas, Southern Florida, Central Florida, uh, Texas. What I say? North, the Carolinas, Texas, which is like a whole country to itself now. We're finding out like heavy is we're gonna fit. We have to reconstruct that a little bit in my mind to make in our minds to make that work correctly. But all these places where no matter where you are in the country, right? Missouri, whatever, St. Louis, Indianapolis. What we're going to do is look at trying to do our best to make sure that we have our online meetups first, right, on Zoom. and then we're going to have our meetup that we do in all the different areas together. And what we're going to try to do from there and all the little area meetups together is by Passover, we can make sure that everybody's on one accord and they can come together in their region of the country and they can meet up for Passover. We'll still do it all on Zoom together, but the goal is to have people be meeting up with each other once we're comfortable and once we feel everybody can be safe and connected. So we'll be doing something like that in every area. So we just started having our sessions with people in different areas, and that's what we're asking. Like, we just had our first session with the people of Georgia. We didn't have a great participation, but we did have some. We're supposed to have our online session with people in Florida on Saturday. We're going to have our meet up with people in Georgia, whether you be in the Atlanta area or more so like down closer to like Thomasville, in between Thomasville and Macon, somewhere in between there. We're gonna do one earlier in the day and then one later in the day in both spots. So that's the goal. We have a bunch of people popping up too. So I'm trying to figure out even the region up there, because depending on where you are, Philly, New York, right? Depending on where you are, New York City, right? But Philly, well, we'll kind of leave Philly, Pennsylvania probably to its own devices. But you got right now we got like the 5 boroughs, we got upstate New York, we've got New Jersey, we got Massachusetts, and I think we got a couple in Delaware too. So we're just trying to figure out where all the zones are, right? But we do have people popping up, people saying they're interested. So when we say, hey guys, and whether I DM it to you or we put you on Google Calendar invite or whatever, when I say like, hey guys, we're gonna have a meeting and this is gonna be blah blah blah, please be there. Or even if you got to do something else, if you can listen in or something, when we have these virtual meetings, they're going to help us to establish making sure that some of this stuff happens in your area, right? Of course, DMV represented, DMV, Baltimore kind of connected as one as well. You got Virginia, like the Richmond Tidewater area, I guess, all kind of connected as one. We got a lot of different places. A lot of people are popping up. So we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it, right? But we will have some stuff coming up soon. I think Texas, and we'll probably try to do Texas, and I don't know. It won't be this Saturday, but the first Saturday of February, we'll probably have like try to hit a Zoom call for Texas for the D, or we're really Texas, then like Detroit, so Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio. We might even put, I don't know. There's so many of y'all, and it's weird because of the way it's mapped out. So, but we'll have some stuff, and we'll probably do Cali next week, and then we probably the week after we got to make sure we get New York now together too, and then we got to figure out who's going to make calls in between. So if I can't get to everybody, there can at least be one person I'm connected with all the time that everybody else can kind of reach out to, and they can check with everybody else. So at some point we're gonna get this stuff together. But we've been in these places and we tell people, hey, we're coming through, we travel, and people don't come out sometimes. But now it's not just gonna be on us. We want everybody to come together as family. But anyways, like I said, thank you for being on. I appreciate you. My phone is pretty much, I don't know what's going on. The battery's going even faster than normal than what I thought it would go. So normally you guys know we go for quite a while, but it is what it is. I'm gonna need to go ahead and make sure that I can contact my wife, make sure that she's safe wherever she is out here. We've even had other people in other countries. We've had people in UK, and the UK starting to pop up again. We're having people all over the place starting to pop up. So, we have some people from Ireland again coming on, Australia coming on again. So we're moving. But anyways, I thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you. If you want information on any of the stuff that we talked about, please just, if you're on TikTok, the stuff's about to pop up on your screen right now as the music plays. And we're going to ask that you guys do our shout outs as we always do. And if you're on YouTube, just look at the description with the video. I thank you again. Since the battery's running out real fast, all of a sudden, I'm going to just go ahead and take my leave. Hopefully, we'll be able to get through our shout outs here on TikTok. And thank you guys for being on. Please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Check out our sister on here too, Bev's Body Butter, for stuff that she's doing with her business. Check out Minister Tamara, try and help her to be able to get to 1,000. Check out Minister Joseph, who's in a position to where he can start going live soon. Check out House of Locks and the things that she's doing with her business. Not House of Treats by Day, DAI. So she's doing with her business. So many different things that we have going on. Let's support one another in it. Like I said, I'm gonna try and have some stuff for us to I'm gonna try and have a new form for you guys to put your business information in, since apparently I did a poor job last time of making it there, and therefore we didn't get enough information. We're gonna redo the black book on the website. But we thank you all. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Look out on TikTok, especially for on this channel, Kofi_43. We have done the olive bait thing, so hopefully that's been uploaded as we've been speaking. Hopefully that's the reason why the battery's going down. And once that's finished, we're just gonna take all of those and we're gonna record them and put them on YouTube for those that are taking class, and also those that might want just a quick, 22-minute, because that's all it's gonna be, is basically like a 22-minute thing, 22 characters, 22-minute thing on the characters. It's not the same as taking the class, but at least you can kind of get used to what we're talking about and see it for yourself. All right. So we thank you, we appreciate you, we honor you, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my leave. So as always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, just that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Early Rashan Shalom to you, because tomorrow is the new moon, and we'll start our new day. We appreciate you. We look forward to talking to you soon. And yeah, take care. Thank you again. Thank you, Adam Starr, for being part of the community. And as we get ready to close out, those who are on TikTok, please feel free, as the music is playing,